Join us live on the Sherry Lord Talk Show podcast. Start your day off with the Higher Vibrational Podcast with weekly guests covering spirituality, healthy foods, and so much more. Go to sherrylord.com for more info. Hey, welcome everyone. We're so glad to see you, all our flowerers that join us every Tuesday at 10 a.m. And we have amazing guests. We can't wait to bring on Annie Biirnbach. She is a beautiful rising star. You guys are going to love her. She is going to be one of the people you're going to see out there throughout the world, and she's global. So you can't wait to listen to what she has to share. She's an amazing coach. Annie is beautiful. She's been on our show before. She is an empowerment coach, a keynote speaker, radio personality, and author. Welcome, Annie. We're so happy to have you back on our show. You are amazing.
Thank you, Sherry. That was quite the introduction.
Yeah, no, I mean, you help so many people and your light is so bright and you're out there. I mean, you guys, if you see her, make sure to get her autograph. You want this one and you're going to want her book too, because she is beautiful inside and out. And I also want to say something. Annie, you have such a powerful presence and messages. Can you take us back to the moments or experiences that sparked your mission to help women transform their lives and talk about the self-worth? People have a problem with that. Can you help our audience understand that through your experiences?
Yes, I can. I happen to be able to do that. May I first start out by just acknowledging you?
Thank you.
Yes. For those of you who don't know, Sherry Lord is an incredible human being. And I had the honor and privilege of being the keynote speaker for her very first Light Consciousness event.
Mm-hmm.
And now, as I have launched Guerrilla Girl Coaching, which is women's
Mm-hmm.
empowerment online group coaching. And I've just done a soft launch recently. Sherry's given me the opportunity to do my first podcast interview. So I just want to thank you for having me here.
Well, we just are so blessed to have you on our show. We help people who are empowerment, who help other people. And that's what this platform is to let people know who you are. And a lot of people know, but people who may not know you. And the empowerment, the blessings, the transformation that you've helped over hundreds of people. And I see over thousands as it unfolds. It's very important. People want change. They want peace. They want to be happy. They want to be free, and they want to enjoy life.
Yeah. That's, funny you should say that. So my signature program is called Sustaining Your Happiness.
Okay.
So happiness is, at the end of the day, most of us say, I just want to be happy, right?
Yeah.
So how my mission started to help women. I focus on women today.
Mm-hmm.
And women, teens, and just over the last couple of years, I've just decided to focus on women. And so really my mission started when I was a kid. And I was always everybody's Oprah and empowerment girl and a little Tony Robbins Jr. It wasn't until I had a horrific life crash where I lost the only me, not only everything I owned and, the physical, but really the only me that I ever knew. And it wasn't until I recognized that it was about my relationship with myself and that I hustled for my worthiness and that I was all things to all people while dismissing myself and my own needs. And that's what landed me in a really bad spot. And for the first time in my life, I had to make peace with myself. And once I did that, everything changed. And so this method was born out of survival. It was beyond necessity. And this method was born. And so I carried on my merry way, and this was a few years. This wasn't just a one and done thing. And one day, I was a master hairstylist, and one day a
Yeah.
woman named Andrea sought me out, and she came into my studio and said, "I'd like for you to do my hair." And we discussed,
Mm,
and we did a conversation, and we became friends. And she shared with me, she said, "The day I met you,
mm.
I thought to myself, how is she the way that she is? I want some of that." And I was like, "Well, thank you." And she said, "How did you do it? Will you tell me?" So I told her my story and how through sheer desperation, when you have an identity crisis and PTSD and panic attacks,
Mhm.
people are really uncomfortable. They only knew one you. So I was very isolated. And one day, out of sheer desperation, I picked up a mirror, and it was actually my iPhone, movie camera, then iPhone. It was back in the day, 2009. And I fixed myself, and I learned to trust myself, and I talked to
Yeah.
myself, and I listened to myself, and I gave myself empathy, and I forgave myself. And this was this practice. So it was all about having this deliberate conversation with myself
Yeah.
and giving myself the time, the attention, the focus that I deserved, that I always deserved. So I told her about it. Well, little did I know that she wrote training programs for corporations, for large businesses. And
Mhm.
she said, "Can I take that conversation and play around with it?" And I said, "Sure." And she came back, and what she created was this wheel. And at the top, it was where you start your conversation, and then you listen to yourself and you ask yourself what you need, and you
Yeah.
validate, you take responsibility, and you forgive yourself, you practice forgiveness. And the other side of the wheel was
Mm.
the results. And when I
Mhm.
looked at it, every program in personal development, every therapy, everything I had ever done was right in front of me. And it was self-help simplified. And it's not that simple. It takes practice, because looking at yourself and being like, "Hi," it's a little vulnerable, to say the least. But that's when the Gorilla Girl method was born. And I had a
Wow.
tool, a way to help women, like you are talking to yourself all the time. And when you think about having that best friend, all people want is to be heard and seen as they are, right?
Mhm.
And what if you had someone who said you were important, who said you mattered, who said that they cared about you, but they were always too busy for you? They dismissed you, they criticized you, and that's the self-talk piece. How would you feel worthy? Or would you go somewhere else to try to find your worth? And so that's the method. You're talking to yourself 24 hours a
Mhm.
day, 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day. And this is anywhere, anytime. You do this with yourself, and it's a deliberate conversation. Like, it takes some
Right.
training. It's not just a one
Mhm.
and done. And that's when it was born. And that's when I decided that I retired. I got married, retired from hair. My husband and I travel the world. I
Yeah.
took on a few private clients, but the group coaching and the radio, and I just decided I can't give it up. I love it too much. And so now I've launched Gorilla Girl Coaching, and
Wow.
sharing the method with other women. And I'm working, I don't call it work, but working, coaching around my lifestyle. And I can group coach. We just launched, I have like 3 or 4 girls, and we just did a soft launch 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
So
Wow.
that's how the method was born. And that's it on that, girl.
Well, I think that's beautiful. I think that we all have major life experiences in our life, but it's coming out of it. It's shifting it, it's transforming you into to launch something that you can actually be of service for,
Yes, for
and
sure.
have a tool or a method to help others, that you can uplift to get there.
Right.
I think that's great. And my question to you is, what can you tell us about Gorilla Girl? How did that came about? I mean, how did that Gorilla Girl come about? I mean, was this just something that popped in your head, or was this something that kind of happened, or is there something in your life that happened that from this? It's a really good. I really like it, and I just
Thank you.
our audience wants to know more of what is that? How did it come
Well,
about?
well, it is interesting because when you cultivate this loving, kind, conscious relationship with yourself, um, you like the Buddhists say, you are able to observe your
Yeah.
own thoughts, and they're not always positive, right?
Mhm.
so so I went back and forth with branding and all this stuff I never had to do. Like I started coaching in my hometown. I knew people. I had the radio. So when it came to launching an online business, I've spent almost 3 years behind the scenes to produce this. And one of it was coming up with the name of my company. And much like your practice, Sherry,
Mhm.
I stopped trying to think of what would be the perfect name, right? Because
Yeah.
there is no perfect anything, right? And what's the
Yeah.
worst case scenario? Not everybody loves it. That's okay. And literally, we were in our Florida home, and I was
Wow.
just sitting at night in a neutral state, not trying. And seriously, Gorilla Girl just dropped in my head. It was
Wow.
literally dropped in my head. And I was like, that's it. That's it. And never have
Wow.
I even, it just came out of the blue and I snatched it and I ran with it. And it feels right.
Wow, I think that is amazing. That is really, really, really amazing. And let's talk a little bit. I want to bring your book up because your book will help so many people, and I really want our audience to know that this is her life, and this is real. This really, really is real. And it will transform you as you read the book and hopefully shift or heal something within you to empower
Mhm.
yourself and to heal those parts of you. And I tell you, she's amazing. So, like I said, if you see her at a restaurant or you see her in your town, make sure to get her autograph, make sure to get her book.
You
She
have to
is
give
a
me her.
rising star, and I see that. And but she's from the heart, and she's real.
Yes,
She's not
for
poo-pooing
sure.
anything. She's very real and
Mm.
authentic. So this is huge, and she's got so much to offer. But let me bring the book up so we can talk a little bit about how this book, a little bit about what's in the book.
Thank you. And thank you for saying that because my biggest thing before I joined you this morning was not what am I going to say and how am I going to say it? It's where am I going to speak from? And I
Yeah.
always go back to my heart over my head.
Yep.
Get out of your head and into your heart. And so this book was, and it doesn't necessarily seem like a life coach writes this book about kids, right?
Hmm.
This book I was inspired to write. And the cool thing about this book is if you can see, this was 2000,
Yep.
this was 9, 10 years ago now.
Right.
And my nieces, I have 3 nieces. One was 10, 9, 11, and 12. And I collaborated with them. I call them the futures.
Um,
I collaborated with them, and Lucy I wrote the story, but she painted my words and she gave them
oh
color
wow.
and texture and sound and emotion. It was unbelievable to watch this. And then my niece Ray did there on the back, you can see the characters in the book, but she
Mhm.
did the graphics. And
Oh,
my niece Marie wrote an emotionally intelligent poem at 11 or at 9 years old in the book. So our only mission was to finish it. No matter how good, perfect, imperfect, whatever it was to finish it. So the story is about a group of junior high kids that being everything but themselves, trying to fit in, what parents think, what teachers think. And there's a special new kid that comes into the school
mhm.
and notices this and notices their vulnerabilities and actually ends up creating a safe space through
Oh, wow.
curiosity, listening and validating. And this group, they all become what we call their authentic selves, and they shine their light. And
Oh,
so
wow.
much so that they inspire other students, parents, teachers, communities. And so the the connection with adults, this is really, I believe, as much if not more for adults, because we all have
Mhm.
that kid in us. We all have that part of us that still reserves has reservations about being ourselves, showing our
Right.
imperfections, wearing what we want to wear, saying what we need to say. And these kids in this book, they shined their light and became their authentic selves, not through achievements and accolades and popularity and what they looked like or what they drove, but through self-love and empathy and compassion and vulnerability. And so I think it's a really good message for us as adults, because let's face it, we all have that kid in us that wants to just come out and play and not care so much and have a good
Yeah,
time. So
exactly.
so that's the book, and it's a really, really, really empowering story.
How
At
can
least I think
people, yeah, where can people get your book? Is it Amazon? Is it off your website? How can they get
you
a
can go
hold
on
of your book?
you can go on my website, and you can find it there, and you can just click, and it's on Amazon. I think it's like $10, maybe. So
Right.
Amazon, She Grabbed Her White Jacket.
Wow. Now it's a really good read. You guys really, really want to read this. You'll just enjoy it. And I tell you, you're really going to enjoy it. You talk about our topic today was sustaining your happiness.
Mhm,
Everyone matters. I find that to be, everyone's seeking happiness.
mhm.
And what tools or clarity can you give people about happiness? I mean, what can you tell our audience so they can understand what happiness really is? People
A
are,
lot.
yeah, I mean, sustaining your happiness. How do they sustain their happiness? If there's any tips or any experiences you've had that you've learned, to give somebody a tip of what they can do every day or something to be true to themselves to really be happy.
Yeah, that's a loaded request for sure. That's why I have my training. However, um, sustaining your happiness, I can speak for myself, and I know I'm
Yeah.
speaking for others, that
Yes.
we have all these quotes and on walls, on t-shirts, on mugs about being your authentic self and love yourself and let it go, and all these things about staying positive, right? And we have a wide range of emotions, and
Right.
everything we want, everything we don't want, what we want to do, what we want to say, our dreams, our goals,
Yeah.
all the desire for them is all because of how the way it's going to make us feel, right?
Hmm.
Everything is about feeling. So there's other emotions. There's sadness, there's
Yeah.
anxiety, there's fears, and we all have them, right? And most of the
Hmm.
time we're trying to just stay positive and look on the bright side. How many times have you
Yeah.
been upset and somebody says, "What's wrong?" and you say, "I'm fine,"
Yeah.
right? The truth is we're
Yep.
not always fine. And so
Fine.
I help people sustaining your happiness. Everything's great when you're having a great day and maybe your hair looks good, if that's important to you, and things are going your way. But when the unexpected happens,
Yeah.
or you say the wrong thing and you start worrying about what people are thinking, those are those moments where those emotions dictate everything.
Yeah.
And so when you can navigate those, what I call those lower emotions that are just as relevant, happiness takes care of itself. And so happiness, sustaining your happiness, you're going to have shit happens, right? The unexpected
Right.
happens. So you're going to have these lows. And when you can navigate the lows and get back into the present, the highs take care of themselves. So what I help people do is navigate those emotions. And you have to have and cultivate a loving, supportive relationship with yourself. And when you
Yeah.
have that self-worth, you can say, "Hey, what's really going on? What's the worst case scenario?" And you can do of consciousness. And so sustaining your happiness isn't about always being happy, because that's not
Yeah.
the deal. So it's acknowledging when you're not in a good state, being able to soothe yourself or talk to somebody about it, and getting back in the present moment, and what I call shorten your duration of overthinking, being
Yeah.
everywhere but the present moment,
Yeah.
and shorten your duration of suffering, and get
Yeah.
back. So it's not like I'm happy and, happy all the time, but
Mhm.
I don't get stuck for a long time, and I can get back into the moment. And that's what sustaining your happiness is.
I think that is really important. Some people don't want to feel or look at the things that aren't as pleasant, you know?
It's hard.
And yeah,
If you think about, when I'm talking to women, if you think about, Sherry, if you came over to my house for a gathering, and I opened the door and I looked you up and down, and I looked at what you were wearing, and maybe I even put a scale out there and had you step on it. And depending on that, it was going to determine whether or not you were good enough to come into my party. Those are the kinds of things we do to ourselves.
yeah,
Women we have the worst inner critics. We don't realize to the degree that we really are our own worst critics. And the way you see yourself is the lens that you perceive other people see you.
yeah,
It's just the way it goes. So, the self-worth and accepting and being okay. Self-worth is much different than self-esteem, self-confidence.
yeah,
Those are done through actions and accolades. Self-worth is, no matter what I look like, my past mistakes, if I said the wrong thing, my imperfections,
mm,
and my successes, my beauty, my
yeah,
happiness, I am worthy as I am in any given moment. And that's a game changer. That's a game changer. And that's life just changes. And it's so much better. And you have so much space for other people and presence for other people. And I'm just going to say that every day when I'm having my conversation with myself, when I'm finished with my conversation, this is what happens. And I'm so grateful. This isn't the ego. This is anything but the ego. I am so grateful. I am clear. I know what I want. I know what I need. I know where I'm heading. I know what's important to me. I know what promises I made to
yeah.
myself. And it changes the trajectory of my whole day. And I don't always want to talk to myself. I've been doing this since 2009. But when I do it anyway. I'm like, you're the one I needed to talk to. You're the one that I needed to hear and see. So,
That's amazing. It actually sounds like another book.
well, my next book, we do have book
Yep,
2, which is going to be so
yeah, yep.
insane. She grabbed her white jacket. The sequel, I don't know, is it called a sequel? The next book. But my next book, it'll just be a short novelette, because too much information is not sustainable, right? My next book will be about my method, so
Wow,
people
that
can.
is great.
Mhm. Yeah.
No, that is really, really great, because I'm really glad you clarified that, because people get confused of self-worth, and
Yes.
self-love. I mean, it's all connected in some form, but
Right.
they're different.
Well, and it's true, because there's all these words, like in my coaching, we're like, what does self-value mean? What does
Yeah, people
consciousness
get
mean?
confused.
What do
Yeah,
these things mean, right? And a big one in this day and age is self-care.
yeah,
Self-care is much more than a manicure or reading a book or some of these acts. Those are acts of kindness. But
mhm,
self-care is about looking at yourself face to face, saying good morning. I mean, these things sound so
mhm,
silly, maybe, but self-care is about self-acceptance. It's about
yeah,
um, reminding yourself that you matter. It's about that one-on-one with yourself, face to face. And you think you know yourself. Like, if you were my best friend, Sherry, and I was always like, hang on a minute, or I was on my phone while we were talking, I wouldn't really know you,
Mhm.
so self-care, yes, doing those things for yourself, but really breathing.
Mhm.
We have to, I mean, who remembers to breathe? Many of us do, but
Mhm.
breathing and getting yourself back to center and giving yourself, I call it keeping in touch and showing up for yourself differently than
Yeah.
just those acts of kindness.
Pete, no, that's
Mhm.
great because I'm really glad you are describing the differences because people really get confused,
Mhm.
and they don't understand the differences, and they're similar but different, and it's really good to differentiate that because then everybody, I mean, when you talk to one person, their perception of self-care is totally different, and then self-love, and
Right,
it's like, okay, let's kind of define it a little bit so that you have a better clarity,
right, right,
yeah, I think that was really, really, really important. And I
right.
think that was really good. The other thing is about receiving. People really have a hard time
Mhm.
receiving, you know?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's a book in itself. What I found, and I found that I'm not alone, receiving.
Yeah.
And I am focused more on women. That's not because men aren't valuable, because they are.
Yeah.
Uh, but when you think about the average time when somebody says, "Oh, Sherry, you look beautiful today," like even receiving a compliment, 9 out of 10 times we brush off a compliment,
Yeah.
right? Somebody can
Yep.
say, your house looks beautiful, and we find those flaws, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So receiving, and even like, whether from a higher power, whether that's God, Buddha, Allah, the universe, guides,
Yep.
angels, if you
Yep.
can't receive a compliment and you don't feel worthy of receiving, you can't, you don't feel worthy of receiving dreams, desires,
Yeah.
abundance, and so learning to receive, you can only give away what you possess. And so receiving is all about your self-worth. And when you
Yeah.
receive from
Yeah.
yourself and you feel worthy of it, it changes everything. Like when someone offers me something now, I say thank you. I don't need it. And it's nice to be acknowledged, right? But I can
Yep.
reach out for help. I can receive a compliment. And I always say to my friends, quit robbing me of my compliments to you. you know, Quit batting them away. Like, you can't just be the giver all the time. How about trying to be the receiver for once? And it's really vulnerable. There's a lot
Yeah.
around receiving, but it really still boils down to feeling worthy of it. And I know most of my life I didn't feel. I
Yeah.
overgave and under
Yeah.
received. So
Yeah.
that's a whole podcast, girl.
Yeah. We'd love to have you back on because because there's different topics, and I feel how you can educate people and the way you explain it for them to see it. But we have a couple of different topics I'd like to bring you back on, and we love having you on our show. And again,
Thank you.
how can people get your book and how can they contact you? And how can you have a website, a contact, Facebook?
Yes, I am right now on, and again, this is I'm so grateful to have a great team, one being my amazing husband, my sister-in-law,
Yep,
and one of my best friends that are geniuses in
yep,
their field. Um, so I am present on Facebook. I have Gorilla Girl YouTube, and that's it right now. But if you go to gorillagirlcoaching.com on my website, you can access my social media, my past radio broadcasts, the book. Anything is all housed in gorillagirlcoaching.com, which is my website. So that's the easiest way to navigate. You can reach me. You can book a 15-minute consultation. You can
yeah.
learn about my program. That's the best way to reach me.
Oh, that's
Oh, I'm on
amazing.
Instagram.
And
Did I say
yeah,
Instagram? I
yeah,
didn't.
you want to talk about your Instagram? You got YouTube, anything like that?
Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. It's all Gorilla Girl Coaching. And if you go to my website, of course, you can access all my platforms through the website as well.
Absolutely. We just so thank you for being on our show, and we'll have you back. And we just want to thank our audience for watching us and for sharing our podcast. And if you need any information about upcoming guests or about Annie, go to www.sherrylord.com. We have her information. Click on her website or her email and you can get to her directly. And we just want to bless everyone to have a prosperous, abundant, wonderful life. Thank you all for watching, and thank you, Annie.
Thank you, Sherry.